Shalom.
Hey, hello, Sneako. What's up?
What up?
How are you?
I'm good. I see you got the three flags up.
Yeah, America, Israel, and Iran.
How come?
Who I support. Served the military for about 12 years in the American military, and I'm not Jewish, but I support Israel. I'm not Iranian. I support Iran.
Is that a Palestine necklace?
It's an Israeli necklace.
Okay. Well, why
It
do you
has the
so
Golan Heights, right? You don't think that Palestine controls the Golan Heights?
let me ask you, why do you support Israel if you're not Jewish?
You don't have to be what? Are you Palestinian?
It's a simple question. You answering a question with a
Right.
question.
I'm answering by asking you. Are you Palestinian?
No.
Do you support Palestine?
I want them to be freed.
Okay, so you support them. Wow, you just answered your own question. Good job.
Yeah, but you didn't answer my question. I'm answering why,
The
because they should be
same exact
freed.
answer.
No. I support Palestine because they're being genocided and they need to be freed from this genocide. And they are predominantly Muslim brothers and they are good people. So that's a
Right.
clear,
And you
I give
didn't.
you clear evidences. I give you clear examples why I support
Correct.
Palestine. Why do you support Israel?
Right. Right. So that's not what you originally asked. That's your new question. Your original question is, why do I do it if I'm not Jewish? So if your new question is, why do I support Israel, period, right? My answer is that I think they should be freed from terrorism and terroristic state and IRGC proxy group. Doesn't mean I
Why?
particularly dislike
Okay,
any
but why?
Arabs
So,
living in
so
the
why?
land.
Why do you
Oh,
support?
okay.
Do you support them because terrorists are attacking them?
No, there's many reasons. I'm just trying to simplify an answer just for a vague question. I'm giving a vague answer. Obviously, we can expand. There's more to it. I also don't believe it's a genocide because it doesn't meet the definition of Genocide Convention of 48 that was ratified in 51.
Right. You've seen Gaza
Doesn't meet the
today, and
dolus
have you seen it
specialis.
2023? Right. They're cutting off the food supply, cutting off the water supply. They have kept on shooting after the ceasefire. They've made it clear they want to expand to Greater Israel. They want to ethnically cleanse them, destroy the land. It's been
Who's
completely
they?
destroyed. The Jewish Zionists controlling Israel.
All of them or some of them, 10% of them, 100% of them? I know some people have said that. Of course, there's people that are allowed to agree with that. There's some people that want America to expand too, and there's some people that disagree with it, but that wouldn't mean I would attribute that to Donald Trump or the administration. But before you kind of
You're
labeled a
going?
huge list.
You're going everywhere. Okay, but okay. So
You
Israel.
went everywhere. That's my point. I'm trying to bring us back. You just labeled a whole thing. I'm trying to go back to
I
the
didn't even
genocide
mention
claim.
Trump, and you went over to Trump. I want to go back to the original question. So
Right. As an example.
relax.
So you don't want to talk about genocide?
Okay, I do want to get there, but I have to figure out what you believe in. I don't know who you are, and I don't know why
Okay.
you're
Fair
supporting
enough.
Israel.
Okay. Fair enough. Go back.
Why are you upset?
I'm literally not upset. I said fair enough. Go back.
Okay, so why do you support a state that was created in 1948 by Jews to support the greater Jewish cause, and you are not Jewish? What are you? What do you believe in?
Like my religion, or I'm Italian and Spanish mostly. I mean, my dad's from Mexico. I'm not Jewish. I'm American. I don't know what you're asking. Like
Okay, well, what's your faith? But you grow up Catholic? Spanish Italian is probably Catholic, right?
I I'm a cradle Catholic, but I'm not a Catholic anymore. I do believe in God, but I'm not particularly a religious person. At least like a practice religion. I do believe in God for sure.
Okay.
But I believe in the seven, like I believe in seven laws of Noah. I'm not Jewish. I'm not really Christian anymore. Again, I was a cradle Catholic, and I did believe, excuse me, believe that for a little bit, but I kind of left the church as I started having questions.
So you just believe in God and God alone.
That's correct. I have read the Christian Bible. I've read the Quran twice. I've read over about 20,000 hadiths. I've read the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, the Torah, whatever. But yeah, just not any of those three faiths.
So you're against organized religion?
No, I'm not against it per se. I guess it depends on how that organized religion plays out. But I don't like harp on anyone if they're part of an organized religion. That's fine.
And you said you read 20,000 hadith?
15 to 20,000. Read all of Sahih al-Bukhari, which is about 7,500 hadiths. I read all of Sahih Muslim, and I read some of the ones beyond that.
Right. Google's saying it's around like 2,000 to 7,000 but maybe you're reading Shia
Wait,
ones
you
as
don't
well.
know your own No. That's okay. First off, the fact, aren't you Muslim?
Yeah. Again, hadith, there's unreliable, and
Dude,
there's specifically
Sahih
reliable.
al-Bukhari,
There's different
Sahih
books.
al-Bukhari has 7,500 hadiths by itself, dude. How do you not know this?
Again, there are different clarifications on how many hadith you could believe and how many are specifically reliable. There's different interpretations.
Sahih al-Bukhari is reliable. It's Sahih, which means authentic. Do you know what Sahih means?
Yes. Look, the point is that there's different schools of
Holy
thought,
shit.
and different people believe in different amounts of hadith. This is the first time that I heard someone
Correct.
say 20,000.
Sunnis, dude. Well, first off, I don't know what you Googled, but Sunni hadith, Sahih al-Bukhari is Sunni. Okay, Sahih al-Bukhari by itself, before you even get into Sahih Muslim, is 7,500. What did you Google exactly? How many hadiths are there?
Mhm.
I'm gonna Google that just to see what mine says. How many total hadiths are there? Yeah, so what I got is it estimates range from tens of thousands to over 100,000, as you can know. It's not focusing, but or over a million actually. It says tens of thousands to over a million. So I don't know what you
Total
read.
hadith, it depends. Again, it's debated about how many specific hadiths there are, how many are reliable.
Okay, but no one in the world would say there's only 2,000 or whatever you said.
I wasn't refuting you. If you're coming here to do this like gotcha moment, I was asking because this is the first time I've heard somebody say that they've read that many or that there were that many. Most of the people that I've spoken to say they're around 7,000, as Google said here.
Bro, I promise you it wasn't to be a gotcha. I just never heard a Muslim say that. But yeah, I know a lot of people have read way more than me. But sure, I mean, they're not that long. Anyways, whatever. It doesn't matter. The point is that I'm not Christian or Muslim.
Let's go back
or
to the original question. So, do you believe that that land, which is the Zionist belief, was promised to them 3,000 years ago?
What do you mean by that land? So like Genesis 15, for example, says from the Euphrates River to the river of Egypt, which some people say is the Nile River, but that's actually not correct. It's actually the Al-Wadi area, which is in the Sinai. But if you go into the book of like Joshua, Numbers, it actually is smaller. The borders are actually smaller. So it just depends on what you mean by that land. Yes, I do believe God literally said that, but I don't generally need to use religious beliefs to defend my position with Israel. We can talk about religion, but I don't particularly.
If you don't believe in religion, then why do you believe this aspect of religion?
I do believe in the word of God. I'm just saying organized religion. Like, for example, the Catholic Church I left, not because I was against certain things in the Bible. It's because of organized religion. And when I say I'm against it, again, I'm not saying other people, I like condemn them for it. That's fine. I'm just saying me personally. But yes, I believe in the words of God.
You believe in the word of God, but you don't believe in organized religion. But in the word of God, it clarifies organized religion.
Where?
All over. Like the Torah saying that the people, it comes from the tribe, that your mother is Jewish.
I'm not from that, so that's not to me.
But you're using that. You're using that as an example.
No, that's okay. So if you read, you're talking about like Deuteronomy and Leviticus. What it says is to the Hebrews. ... I'm not part of that. So you're correct. It does say that, but that wouldn't apply to me.
So you believe that they're right, but you're not part. You don't. I'm trying to figure out. So you agree and disagree with them?
No, you're just wow. Okay. What I'm saying is that was laws given to the Hebrews and their descendants, the children of Israel, or if you're Muslim, they say Bani Israel. I'm not part of that.
Are they correct?
Is what correct? Do I believe God said that to them?
Are they correct in believing that that land was promised to them 3,000 years ago?
I do believe God promised that to Abraham, and that covenant went through Isaac and Jacob. That is true. But again, I want to make it very clear because I know you're trying to like pivot to this. I'm just trying to get an understanding. My position of Israel.
I don't know. I want to figure out why. So I'm asking you very, important questions. So find out what you.
My defense of Israel can come absent of religion. I do not need to bring up religion to defend Israel. So you like if you're asking, do I defend it because I think it's God's promise? That's not the answer.
Okay. So then 1948, the land was sold from the British to the Rothschild family, and it started the formation of Israel. Do you agree? Do you believe that that was right?
No. First off, the letter to Rothschild was in 1917, not 48.
I didn't say the letter. I said it was purchased. I said that's when the transaction went through.
No, actually, the partition 1A1 alone was in 1947, November 29th, 1947. Okay. So again, that's just not right.
All right. Okay. 1947.
I don't know why you're laughing. It's just not right.
It started.
No, that was the partition plan.
Okay. It started in 1948, correct? That's when Israel started to move, and that's when the land finally the transaction went through officially.
No, when they started to move, the first major aliyah was in 1881. Okay, so no, it wouldn't have started in 48.
Okay.
If you're asking when they declared its establishment, May 14th, 1948.
That's
if that's
what I'm talking
what
about.
you're asking,
Yes.
then that
so
would
that's
okay,
when the
well, that's just not
declaration
what you
was,
said.
and that's when it was official. That's when it went through. That's the important part of this conversation, right? We keep like
Okay, yes. If you're asking when they
you've
established,
done a lot of research on these dates and things. Are you here stream sniping to debate me?
I would love to debate you. If you don't want to, you don't have to.
No. But is this the purpose of this? You were trying to find me?
I was literally just on Omi TV, and I skipped the last person I was talking to who pointed a gun at me, and he had like a swastika, and then I was like, I'd like to talk to you, and then he skipped, and then I connected with you, literally.
Okay. So was this correct? Because afterwards there was a genocide that was reported called the Nakba, the expulsion of the Palestinians there. Is that correct?
That was a genocide too?
Yes, it's been a continuous genocide, but that's a major event in the ongoing genocide since 1948. Do you agree of that expulsion? So there was purchased, the land was purchased by the Rothschilds from the British.
Okay, so no, I don't agree that it was I don't agree that was a genocide. Genocide is defined specifically. The second to last page of the Genocide Convention says cultural destruction does not suffice, nor does simply dispersing a group of people. Those can be violations of the Rome Statute, but that is not the same thing as genocide. It wouldn't meet the dolus specialis of genocide.
What do you consider to be the definition of genocide?
Doesn't matter what I consider, it's just the definition. So I would go with the 1948 convention that was ratified in 51. And if you look that up, you will see the definition, but you also see the definition of dolus specialis, what that means, the hierarchy of international law from just Kogan's norms, right, all the way down to Article 107. And then before that, or under that would be the mix between customary international law and treaty law.
Okay, well, on Google, it's saying, coined by Raphael Lemkin in 1944, it is a recognized crime under international law involving acts like killing, causing severe harm, or preventing births within the targeted group. Genocide is the deliberate and systematic destruction.
Yes, every war in history has been a genocide by that definition.
In whole and part of an ethnic, racial, religious, or national group. So the land was purchased, and then what? Thousands of people.
Are you using Google instead of like legal terminology?
Right. This term was coined in 1944. It's a crime under international law.
That's correct.
Law.
Yeah.
So this is a legal term. So that I am following a legal
right,
term.
and the UN convention was in 1948.
Right, so
you're
4
correct.
years
44 was
by
before
the
48.
definition under international law. So again, if you don't like Google definition, this is the international law definition. So how is?
Oh, you are reading. Okay, my bad.
Okay, I accept your apology. Is this not genocide by this definition?
No.
How come?
So am I answering about the Nakba or am I answering post October 7th? Because you brought up both.
Nakba.
Okay, so the Nakba, do you believe that they had an intent to wipe out a group in whole or in part of a protected status? Because I'm pretty sure the Nakba is defined by the Palestinians, especially post 1964 political movement, right? With the PLO. When you look at the Nakba, it's talking about 750,000 that were displaced. 2/3 of them never actually even crossed international borders, which is what's required as a refugee, unless you're a Palestinian. They made up a new definition for them. So hold on, almost done. Just one more sentence. And so you're saying that displacement, even if you counted all that, you're counting that as genocide. That's not what genocide is.
So they were just displacing people, killing them, and kicking out of their homes. Not genocide.
Yeah, that's not genocide now.
Okay. Should you kill, displace, and kick them out of their homes because it was purchased by the Rothschilds? Is that morally right?
That's not what I'm saying at all, because that's also not accurate.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm asking you. So what do you think happened after 1948?
Sure. So in November 29th, 1947, a minute after the partition plan vote, there was actually the leader of the Arab Committee at the United Nations 4 days before that said that we will fight to the last Arab to prevent any Jewish state ever, right? And then a minute after the partition plan vote, they started attacking just Jews. You can't say Israel because Israel didn't even exist yet and for another about 6 months, right? So they started attacking Jews. There was 10 different Arab factions that attacked Jews in 1948 after the establishment of Israel. So I would call it a war that they lost. 70,000 Jews were displaced in the first week of the war alone. Many of them killed, and many of them never got to return to their homes because Jordan ended up annexing illegally what they call the West Bank. Would you say that was a genocide if we're just pretending killing and displacement equals genocide now? I wouldn't say that. I'm asking, would you say that?
So your question is killing and displacing people genocide?
I'm saying it's not. It could be,
Okay, that's just separate.
but it's not.
I want to, what happened in 1948? What was that? You're not calling it genocide. You didn't answer the question. Was that morally correct? What happened?
I did. I answered it already. I said it was a war.
So once there was purchase, it was declared war because the land was now owned by the Rothschild family who purchased it.
Again, what is your question?
So the Rothschild family, because they purchased it from the British, this justifies the war that happened afterwards, and they were entitled to do this. So clearly, it started from them, right? The land existed before. There was a country there. They were existing. The Rothschilds had
Not Palestine.
Then what?
Well, you said there was a country there before. It wasn't Palestine. Palestine's a regional name.
Okay, it wasn't recognized as Israel before then. It was widely recognized as Palestine. You're going to say that different people didn't consider it as a state. That's up for your interpretation.
Nobody considered it as a state. Literally nobody. You can read the 1922 League of Nations mandate. You can read the Ottoman times. They had vilayettes, and none of the vilayettes, by the way, were mentioned as Palestine. Palestine is a European word that comes from the Europeans. It was officially put in by Roman Emperor Hadrian, but even people like Herodotus, who was Greek, he also used that word, right? It comes from the
so what was
ancient.
it called? Okay, so you're not saying it was called Palestine. What was it called?
No, I said there was no country there.
So
of course, the region name.
Okay, so there's people there, and the region is Palestine. The people that were there, their land was sold by people that don't live there. The British sold that land. Afterwards, they were displaced.
Actually, no. Most of the land was actually bought by. Most of the land was bought against Arab absentee landowners by far. So just so you know, about 47 to over 50% of the land was actually state-owned land during the Ottoman time. When the British took that from the Ottomans after the 1917 fall of Jerusalem, when they lost that battle, and then the British took over officially 1922. Okay, they took over that state-owned land. About half of it, some sources say a little over half, was state-owned. And then there was a general amount that was owned by Arabs, mostly by Arab absentee landowners out of Jerusalem, Beirut, and Damascus. And then there was about 6 to 10% by the end that was owned by Jewish organizations, communities, etc. Like there was a lot of Sephardic Jewish communities that bought it. Rishon LeZion, for example, was started by 40 Jewish families, and that economic opportunity brought in for.
Okay, you're saying a lot of historical.
I'm correcting your
events.
statements.
Okay. There were people. The important aspect is there were people living there. They had the Palestinian passports, and then they were kicked out of their land because of a purchase from the Rothschilds from the British. Then they were kicked out. They were killed. They were displaced from their homes because they said we are entitled to this now because of the Rothschilds purchasing it from England. Is this correct?
Nobody said that. No, it's not correct. Nobody said that. It was because of a war that they started, and people get displaced from war all the time. You're not special.
Okay, who started the war?
The Arab Committee.
The Arab
Pirate League started the war.
Why did they start the war?
Because again, 4 days before the partition plan vote, the Higher Committee specifically said we will fight to the last Arab to ensure there will never be a Jewish state.
Because who was living there before, and then who lived there after the transaction? That's the whole point. There was a transaction, and then they said we are now entitled to this, and even though we aren't there, and they sent people, they sent European Jews into a land that was predominantly Arab.
Okay, so when you say they sent, the white papers actually shows that you're wrong. Not only did they not send them there, they actually. You remember that famous photo that Palestine?
Where did they come from?
Well, I'll get to that in a second, but just let me answer your first point real quick. So you remember that famous photo that Palestinians love to show where the Jews had the sign that said the Nazis destroyed our homes, don't destroy our hopes and dreams, and they say, oh, look, we welcomed you with open arms. That was actually from the Aliyah Bed ship, Theodore Herzl. That ship never actually made it to the Palestinian region. The British actually captured that ship and sent them to internment camps in Cyprus. The white papers limited the Jews from going to that land. So when you say they brought these European Jews in and like the British were just pumping it, not only did that not happen, the British actually took 78%.
There. I said that once the transaction went through, sure, Jews went from Europe into a land that was predominantly Arab Muslim, correct?
Well, first off, a couple things. One, there was a lot more than just Arabs. I would say Muslim, yes, way more than just Arabs. Well, two, they sold. 1 second, I'm trying to answer you. They sold the land. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand you're getting frustrated, but they sold the land, dude. If you want to talk about genocide today in today's conflict, we can, but you're not going to beat me in history, okay? I'm telling you what happened.
I'm not trying to beat you in history either. I'm asking if you think that it's morally okay to displace and kill people after purchasing the land from people. It's already.
I'm not saying that. This is a straw man argument. This
It's not a
this
straw
is
man.
extremely.
I'm not even making an
I'm
argument.
not
I'm asking a
saying
question.
that you get.
I'm not making
Please.
it. Are you? This is not. I'm asking you a question.
I'm not. I'm answering you. No, I don't think that's okay, but I also
Okay.
don't think that's what happened. That's the problem. You're asking me to answer a question on something that didn't exist. That's not what I think happened. And you're asking me to assume that position and then answer for that position. I don't assume that position in the first place. So again, I'm trying to answer you. I'm trying to keep up. You brought up genocide, try to go to that, and you're like, no, I want to go back to this. I'm trying to tell you, they sold the land. Are you asking me, is it okay that they sold the land? It happened. That happens all over the world. Do you think United States of America? Do you think we should be demolished?
The important question is that right for people to get displaced from their homes and murdered because of a purchase that they were not involved in? That's correct.